Hey guys, today we're going to learn how to make a better repeat pattern. If you guys don't know how to make a repeat pattern, you can check out my tutorial on making organic repeats. It's making repeats without using the offset method in Photoshop, which seems to be very popular, but I really hate it. So I would recommend doing organic repeats. I don't even know if that's a word, but I made that up, so yay. So how to make a better repeat pattern. So this is a collection I recently worked on, and some problems that people have when creating repeats, like technical repeats, or even mock repeats, which these are. None of these things are in repeat except this design and this design. And this is sort of in repeat, but not technically. It just kind of makes it look that way. So some problems people have when they make a repeat is striping, or the repeat size is way too small for their motif size. There's not enough variation in icons, and the scale of some designs in relation to other designs doesn't work. So these aren't all of my designs. Like, I have way more colorways, but this is pretty much most of the patterns. So for the last one, the scale in relation to other designs, what you can do is, this is at 12.5%. So if I just go and reduce these all to 12.5, you can kind of see how large, like this would be my main, how large things are in comparison. I'll probably have to go in and reduce the size of some of this stuff, especially these moths, and maybe enlarge the parrots. I'm not sure, but you want your coordinates to be of varying sizes and look interesting. You don't want them to be the same scale or too small to see, especially if they're more detailed, like, you know, these ones. I mean, these are just tiny little things, so it's not that big of a deal. So we want to look at it as a whole and see if all of the patterns go together. Striping is another problem. If you're making a technical repeat, striping means like things are lining up and making it look like your eye is following a path, which you don't want to happen when someone's looking at your pattern. For example, I'm going to make a copy of this in case I screw it up. Exit that. Don't save. Okay. For example, if I put another one of these guys, this trumpeting one, like up here, you can just tell by going down, your eye just kind of follows the same direction because it's the same motif, and even this guy's over here. But, so you don't want that to happen. That's just another problem. You want to zoom out. If this were more of if my canvas was larger, you'd be able to see it a little better. You kind of want there to be space, like, you can draw a line here and there's not another elephant right here. If there was, it would look more stripey. As you can see right there, see? Kind of created a little stripe. So we're going to look for that stuff. You don't want people's eye to be led, really. You want to lead their eye to areas that are of importance, but you don't want, but that should be based on the scale of the thing or the colors. You don't want to lead people's eye because of how your motifs are arranged. Now there are some exceptions to that. Let me find a file. I have this design here, which is the paw prints kind of lead your eye, and it's kind of like swirly and like they're going somewhere, so it kind of leads your eye in that way. That's kind of the only exception to that rule. And this pattern is even kind of going a little bit downwards. It kind of feels like it's going that direction, or this way. So I might have to adjust that a little more, but this kind of thing is an exception for the leading the eye. You also want to have enough variation in your icons. So I would probably recommend about 4 to 5 minimum, like, main motifs. For example, here I have 4 elephants: the standing one, sitting one, trumpeting one, and the playing one. And this allows for a variety of things for people to look at. It's not just like these two, because that would create problems, one, for striping and a repeat, and that's just difficult. It'll make it look more like a tile, and you just don't get an, even if you flip, you know, mirror anything, it just won't look as good. You want to have at least 4 different things, and that requires painting a little bit more, drawing, sketching, whatever you do to make your things happen. But 4 to 5 minimum. For these moths, I think I did about 6 to 8 different varieties, and that's pretty good. You know, your eye has lots of stuff to look at, 'cause you're like, oh, here's another one, there's a new thing. I mean, you can tell that there's some of the same, like, flipped around and stuff, but since there's enough variety, it's not so bothersome, and it just is more creative. So it makes it more fun, anyway, to paint some more. Another problem is your repeat size is too small. So if you are putting something into repeat, for example, let's look at this one. You can have a repeat size of like 8 inches, roundabouts. Here to here is about 8 inches, and that might be too small for this design. I tend to go for 12 to 24 inches if I put things into repeat, just so you get a nice variety of angles and tossed looking directions, as opposed to 8, especially in a toss. Might not matter as much for this pattern, but you just want enough room to play and move stuff around, and, you know, have 5 different angles for this moth and all the rest of the moths. You don't just want to have one guy that's always facing this direction, because it will be mirrored like everywhere and it will just distract. So make your repeat size, your dimensions, large enough to fit enough varieties of angles of your poses. So it's a lot to think about. I think that's about it. Yeah. So just try to avoid striping, making your repeat size too small, and make sure you paint enough variety or sketch, whatever, of your motifs, and be sure the scale of all of your things looks good together. You can even print them out and put them next to each other just to see, because art directors like to see you have a sense of scale as well as color. But scale, even though they might change the scale, they still like to see that you're a good artist to work with and you get it. So, yeah, look out for those things. Hopefully this has helped. Cool.